Hello again. So welcome back to the Learning Investor. So we don't know everything, but we're learning. And so today I've got a few more questions for you. Do you ever feel like you're poor even though you make more money than you did several years ago? Because I imagine you probably make more money than you did several years ago. Do you ever feel like you still don't have enough money, even if after you get a raise? You might feel really good for the first month or two, and then after that, it kind of back to the way things were. You know, you're still kind of paycheck to paycheck, even though you got a raise. Does your income have a creep in it? Does it have something that is stealing your money or stealing your purchasing power, even though the numbers say you're making more money? Used to, I thought that in order to fix financial problems, I just needed to make more money. And making more money would fix everything. I just needed more. Well, apparently, I was wrong. I make more money now than I ever have before. But our expenses have gone up as well. Part of it is inflation, like I talked about in one of my previous videos. But the key to it is the budgeting, like I talked about again in another video. What happens is most people's income goes up, so does their expenses. They get an extra $100 a month or a couple $100 a month. They get a 5, 10%, whatever, 3% raise, and they're like, "Oh, we make extra, a few thousand extra a year. So why don't we go get a new car? I've been needing a new car. Let's go get a new car, or let's go to a new boat." Or let's get a new house. We can get a bigger house. Now that we have a bigger income, we can afford a bigger house. And so what happens is their income goes up and then their expenses go up. And that's called income creep. And if we're not aware of it, that's what happens to us. If if more money comes in, but it is not planned for, then just human nature, we end up increasing our expenses. So, for example, if somebody gets gets a promotion into a position, they get a $5,000-$10,000 raise. Well, guess what? That means they're going to say, "Oh, I can afford another $100 or $200 a month on something else," and so their expenses increase by $5,000 or $10,000 that year, and they're back to paycheck. And they feel poor again, even though they're making the same money. And it's kind of like, you ever heard of these stories about these people that won the lottery? Now, they were like poor person or just a normal average person or whatever, and they won the lottery, and they won millions of dollars. And then 2 years later, they're worse off than they were before. And what they end up doing is they end up going, "Oh, well, I can go get this, and I can go get that, and I have down payments for this and down payments for that." And they end up getting more bills each month than they had before because they end up getting all these loans. And so how do you fight income creep? How do you make sure that the raise that you get is actually beneficial for you long term and doesn't just increase how much your expenses are because you buy more stuff? Well, you have to plan for the raise. It has to be budgeted. It has to fit in. You have to say, okay, what are we going to do with this money? How is it going to help us financially? How are we going to buy more assets and not more liabilities? And so there's a few ways you can do that. One of the ways is you just split the payments. You know, a lot of the times what will happen is when we pay off a bill, we'll end up splitting it, a little bit going to this, a little bit going to that. We'll put some towards our next target debt and accelerate paying it off quicker. We'll put some maybe more extra in savings. We'll start to increase how much we're investing. And we may add a little bit more fun money. You know, you got to reward yourself for improving your finances. But doing all of that, paying off, accelerating debt payment, will decrease how much our expenses are. And then in savings, actually helps us, because you know things break. Hot water heater breaks, the air conditioner in the car breaks, you have a flat tire, you know, you need a new computer, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And if you had money set aside for that, you won't have to borrow money to buy it. You have an emergency account. And so putting a little money aside like that when you get a raise is a good idea to do that. It's not financial advice. We're still learning here, and so we're still experimenting, but that's kind of the way I would do it. If I say I got an extra, or I don't know, say I got an extra, I paid off a bill and I had an extra $100 a month. Well, that's $1,200 a year. It doesn't seem like much, but a little bit goes a long way. Pennies make dollars. And so I'd probably say, okay, let's add an extra $25, $30 to the next target debt. Let's add an extra $25 a month to savings. And let's add an extra $25 a month maybe to our weekly budgets, or something fun, or something like that. Another way you can do it, you can take the whole amount and throw it towards something. You know, say you got that extra $100 a month, you can take it and throw the whole thing towards the next debt and accelerate that debt pay off really quickly. And then roll that into the next one, the next one, the next one, and keep going until you're debt free. The trick is to already have a plan for the money. So that way you can tell the money where it's going and what it's doing and how it's working for you instead of against you. You can, instead of it being a creep, instead of it being income creep, then it can be an income asset, income reward. I'm trying to think of another word that's the opposite of creep. It could be an income hero. So you could help your incomes, help your financial situation when your income goes up. So anyways, it's just another little idea, something that we're looking at doing with our bills when we get bills paid off, is we divide it up a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and so it helps all around. And so if we want to accelerate our debt payment and gives us a little bit more fun money, gives us a little bit of savings, so when things break, then we have money to pay for it. Or, you know what'd be cool? You could actually start a little Christmas fund if you wanted to with that. Say, you know, say you think you're going to spend $1,000 for Christmas next year. Save, put that towards that. Save till October, and then start spending Christmas money. That'll help speed up that Christmas fund a lot faster. So anyway, so just the key is to have a plan for it. You already, you know, when you get a raise, immediately start thinking about what are you going to do with that extra money. How are you going to use that extra money to help you financially, to help improve your finances, instead of put a burden on them. Getting a raise is a great thing as long as you use it wisely. Otherwise, it'll be worse than it was before you got the raise. So anyway, hope this helps you out. If you like what we're talking about here, subscribe, put a notification on, don't you miss the video. So more videos to come. Talk to y'all later.